Our daily word today is joy. And our affirmation is, I rejoice in life's simple pleasures. Would you say that affirmation with me? I rejoice in life's simple pleasures. Life's biggest moments, weddings, births, graduations, celebrations of all kinds, are cause for joy. But joy is also found in life's simpler moments, the day-to-day happenings that comprise daily living. Joy is in the sunrise, in the morning prayer, in the familiar faces I love and look forward to seeing, in the satisfaction I get from my work. It is in my favorite things and in the sweet surprises that come from trying something new and different. Joy is in the comfort I find in my favorite spiritual practices and in finding God anew as I deepen in spiritual insight. However, in manifest, joy is part of me, a way to feel the peace and power of God in my heart and deep in my soul. Our scripture is 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 22. And they ate and drank before the Lord on that day with great joy. Again, our affirmation is, I rejoice in life's simple pleasures. Would you say that with me once again? I rejoice in life's simple pleasures.
Oh, and so we breathe. We allow ourselves to relax in, and whether it resonates for you to close your eyes or not, just relax. Just become fully present in this moment. Nothing else to do right now, nowhere else to be. Simply present here, now. And we breathe. Not in any forced way, not trying to overexpand our lungs, just simply relax and breathe regularly. And as we do, we kind of pay attention to that breath, though. We realize that every breath in is a breath of God itself, the breath of the very divine spirit that animates this world we live in, that animates this body that we live in. The breath of God moving through us, bringing life, bringing freedom, bringing guidance and strength and peace. That love of God flowing through us, coming in with every breath, enlivening our bodies, re-energizing our bodies. And with every exhalation, we pay attention and we allow ourselves to feel whatever tension, whatever we feel we don't want in a container of peace, we allow it to move outward on the breath. Not to bring strife to anyone else, but we transmute that energy as it moves outward. We filter it through us, and with doing, we bring it back to peace. So that when that leaves, it moves outward, bringing peace, bringing stillness, bringing love and light with it. So with each inward breath, God, filling us, moving through every cell of our being. With every exhalation, that relaxation continues. Bringing that breath out with anything we feel does not serve us, neutralized, back out into the world of Godness. Within God, we move in, out, as God. We allow that breath as it moves through us to bring that relaxation to our muscles, to our thoughts. We check in with our body and make sure that we are bringing peace. Be still. Make sure that we are absorbing peace. Be still. And that we are sending back out for everyone else in this room and ultimately everyone else in this world. Peace, be still. We hold that prayer for protection within this meditation today, knowing that the light of God is in fact surrounding us. Not coming from some outside force, but coming from within us, moving outward through our skin, wrapping us in a blanket of Godness, and then moving out into the world to do the same for everyone else. That love of God enfolding us, again, wrapped around us as tightly as we need to squeeze it in, knowing that we are love and we are loved. And then allowing that love to expand, moving through this room, out through these walls, out into the area around us, and wrapping its arms around this world. Peace, be still. The power of God coursing through our veins, through our body. We are powerful beings indeed. Knowing that we have the strength of God within us, that whatever we face, whatever we move through, we do it with the power of God protecting us, strengthening us, loving us through. The presence of God always watching over us, but not as though coming from outside of us, moving outward from our center, watching over us and all, beginning within. Knowing that wherever we are, God is there too, that we will come through. And that wherever we are, God is indeed and all in truth as well. We find that well of truth within us when we move into the divinity within. And now in this time where we know there's so much upheaval, that there are so many storms, we send out now that energy, the Godness moving outward, 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 ever outward, wrapping its arms around this planet, breathing into the universe. Peace, be still. In the silence, peace, be still. And with another breath, we relax in, allowing that power, energy, presence, love, strength, wisdom, guidance, support of God to just land over everything. We claim the presence of God everywhere present. With gratitude, we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. So this week was the first week of our Adventures in Faith adventure for 2024, which is this book, The Quest for Wholeness. I have heard from some people they've ordered and it hasn't come in yet. Other people have gotten them. We are out of them in the bookstore right now. So if you don't have it, again, don't stress, don't worry. We're going to be going over things that are going to be happening in the book. We'll be talking about it here. If you do have it, or are reading this with us, and you want to be in our discussion groups, the Zooms are happening Friday evening at 6. So not every Friday, we have an exception in there, but Friday evening at 6, the schedule is on the paper. Oh, and I didn't bring my right paper with the right book. But there's a paper out in the information station that on the back of it tells you what week, what chapter to read, what we'll be discussing, and what's going on. You do not have to be reading this book to enjoy the next 8 weeks, because we are going to be talking about all the things we like to talk about anyway. So whether you're reading it or not, you are good, I promise. Don't stress about it if you're not. But this week, this chapter was Spiritual Healing, the Quest for Wholeness. So we read it this week, and we were talking about it on Friday evening. And so we kind of need to start, I think, this journey. And again, not reading the book, don't worry about it. I need to stop repeating that. Stop it. Okay. Wholeness. So we are reading a book that is called The Quest for Wholeness, which makes it sound like we somehow have to get there, that we aren't there, that there's something that we need to do to make ourselves whole. When the truth is, we are they say it over and over and over again, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Well, another way to look at that is we have this spiritual nature inside our skin. And it can seem like it's something different that we have to go find. Water. My prop that I needed to go get. Water. I've got water in my hand here in 3 forms. I've got, actually 4. I've got ice, or I should say, hold on. I have H2O in my hands. In forms, different forms. We've got it in solid form in the form of ice. We've got it in liquid form in the form of the water. We've got it in vapor form in the condensation, or on the outside of the glass. We've got it in condensation, and we've got it evaporating as I hold it up into the air in the form of water vapor. So it's all the same thing. We humans, we love to quantify stuff. It's got to fit in these little boxes of words that we put it in so that it makes sense to us and so that we know what to do with it because it's been categorized. Spirit in form is similar to these forms of H2O that I hold in my hand now. It's all the same stuff in different forms. We humans are all spiritual forms in our own little glasses of water, in our own individual packages. And we're all expressing our waterness to different degrees. Some of us are sharp and hard. Some of us flow. Some of us like to be invisible, or maybe don't want to be and feel that we are. We are all forms of the same thing, expressing in this world in the form that we understand, in the way that we understand, in the way that we can because of what we're holding within us. Not the spirit, not the wholeness. We're always whole. You can't not be spirit. You're spirit before you became you in this bodysuit, and you're going to be spirit after you leave this bodysuit. So you're always that. You're always that H2O, if you will. It's the different forms that it's going to be happening in through the different ways that we express. It's always fascinating to explain to children how the sweat gets on the outside of the glass. Is the cup leaking? What's going on? No, it's coursing through us, just like the spirit that we are made of. It's inside us as well as eking out through our skin. into the room around us, affecting the space around us. That spirit is something we live in, and then we individualize, moving through it, but we are still living, moving, and having our being in spirit as spirit. We're never not going to be that. When we incarnate, if you will, it's as though we have taken that spirit and put it in a glove. So if we're wearing gloves like these, well, that's pretty easy. They're kind of like a second skin. It's easy to move around in life and do our work. The closer we stay to our spiritual nature, the less things we put between us and everything else, the more flexible we are, the closer we are to spirit, the more we get to express the spirit that we are. It's real easy when we wear a pair of thin gloves that don't get in the way of our livelihood, or our living. But if we start to layer up and we wear some thick gloves, well, now it's a little different. But we do this, right? We layer up. We put our expectations on things. We carry our wounds outside of us and between us and everything else that we touch. We layer up. We add on thicker and thicker sometimes, and it gets less and less easy to feel the spirit in somebody else. The more layers I put between me and you, the harder it is for me to understand the godness in you, because I've put something more between me and you. So instead of continuing to layer up when we're seeking our wholeness, first of all, it's under these gloves. It's what's inside. It's not there somewhere for me to find. It's not something that I need to go outside of my body to find. My wholeness is in here the whole time. It never goes anywhere. It's my awareness that sometimes goes somewhere. It's the gloves I put on. It's the layers I put between me and everything that I'm going to reach out and touch in this world. I guarantee you, I can feel so much better with this glove than I can with this one. And sometimes we wear our wounding like a badge of honor, and we put so much between ourselves and the world that it becomes as though we don't even have the same kind of hands that everybody else might have. It's really tough to reach out and hug someone and grab someone finger-wise when I'm wearing these, right? So let's think about that with the things that we build around ourselves, with the shielding that we put around. I have so many people in my unity life who will say, oh, before I go out every morning, I shield up. Okay, that's a choice. That's a choice. And I don't know about you guys, but when I walk out somewhere shielded up, there is something big between me and everything else. So there is a balance. There is a way to be whole, to be in the world, realizing that there's just this thin little membrane between our spirit and our experience with the outside world, if we choose it. Hey, we can armor up. I could go get my hazmat suit and show you even more. But the thing is, the more we armor up, the harder it is to feel the touch of a hand. The more we put between us and every other godling on this planet, because they all are, they're all godlings. Even the ones that get on your last nerve. Especially the ones that get on your last nerve. Because the ones that are getting on your last nerve are showing you where you have healing work to do. If it bothers you that she wore that, or that they are doing this, or that I don't believe the way that they believe, and I've just got to figure out how to make them believe what I believe. Shield, shield, shield. Distance, distance, distance. More between you and the realization of not only your wholeness, but everyone else's. So in our quest for wholeness, whether we're doing it through this book or whether we're just doing it in life through these weeks, in our quest for wholeness, and I don't know about you, but I'd like to be whole. I am whole, but I'd like to feel it. Mike and I were talking recently about this, and you may hear more about this in the next weeks, but Mike and I were talking recently about how many of us carry that label that we call ourselves broken. We're not broken. We're whole. Can we express that wholeness directly into the world, or have we put so many layers between us and them that not only can we not see their wholeness or their divinity, but we can't see ours either? Because what we see out here is simply a reflection of what's happening in here. Yeah, right? Crap. Yeah. I think I heard that word in your head, Deb. If we want wars to stop out here, we need to stop the wars in here. Because every single thing that happens out there starts in here. Everything. Every time we other, every time we make someone else the enemy, we're just putting it out there into the universe with our breath, with our actions, with our thoughts. So as we quest for our wholeness, I want us to realize in these next weeks, you're in it. It's in you. Let's see where our layers have been constructed. Let's see how many pieces of other we have put between us and everything else. It's all this in different forms. Even the gloves we use to put between us and everything we touch are made of the same spirit that we are. So instead of needing to create barriers and shields and armor to be able to go out into this world, what if instead we realize that our wholeness comes from the inside out, that we know that that wholeness is always accessible to us because it's what we are, and that we work toward a new understanding of what to do. Here's this thing with our quest for wholeness. Wholeness is the destination and the journey itself, and we are all each other's teachers and each other's companions on this journey. I'm only standing up here because I happen to have the business card that says I belong here. But I'm not the only one that could be standing here doing this. You all teach me as much as I teach you. We are all in this together. We are all learning together. We all have different things that we are excelling at and different things that we could use a little help with. So that's one of the things in this book that is so awesome. Now, the book, I should say as well, Pam reminded me this morning that we didn't even talk about this fact. If you are going through the book, at the end of every chapter, there are exercises. Those are to be done on your own individual time on an individual basis. If you want to discuss them with us in the group, we can do that in the group Zoom. If you want to talk with me, my phone number's on my card. Text or call anytime. It would be great if it wasn't in the middle of the night, if it wasn't an emergency though. The unity movement itself came from a quest for wholeness from Myrtle Fillmore, who was terminally ill. And she healed herself. She says about that, I went to all the life centers in my body and spoke words of truth to them, words of strength and power. I asked their forgiveness for the foolish, ignorant course that I had pursued in the past when I had condemned them and called them weak, inefficient, and diseased. I did not become discouraged at their being slow to wake up, but kept right on, both silently and aloud, declaring the words of truth until the organs responded. And neither did I forget to tell them that they were free, unlimited spirit. See, the wholeness is already in here. The filters we put around it, the gloves that we put on it, these perceptions that we believe are adding distance between us and that truth. I told them that they were no longer in bondage to the carnal mind, that they were not corruptible flesh, but centers of life and energy, omnipresent. So now Charles, her husband, watched her heal. And Charles was a skeptic. He didn't like this God stuff. He had no room for it. He wanted provable scientific things that were happening in front of him. He could not deny the fact that his wife had no more terminal tuberculosis. It wasn't there anymore. But that still didn't mean it worked for him. So he decided to do similarly, to follow her example. But here's the thing, the layers we put between us and the truth. His layer was, I don't need God for anything. I don't go through God. So he said, so he began to study principles, and then he went to everything he could think of and found all of these different pieces of teaching that kept contradicting each other. So he said, I noticed, however, that all the teachers and writers talked a great deal about the omnipresent, omniscient God who is spirit and accessible to everyone. I said to myself, in this babble, I will go to headquarters. If I am spirit and this God they talk about so much is spirit, then we can somehow communicate, or the whole thing is a fraud. Then I commenced sitting in the silence every night at a certain hour and tried to get in touch with God. There was no enthusiasm about it, no soul desire, but a cold, calculating business method. I told you guys before, Charles sat like this. Go ahead, God, impress me. Yeah, God is not that doesn't work. I was there on time every night and tried in all conceivable ways to realize that my mind was in touch with the supreme mind. But then not a lot began to happen, and then he found that, he had fallen on ice when he was young, and it crippled one of his legs. One of his legs was 4 inches shorter than the other. The left was shorter than the right. He wore a brace most of his adult life, and he was focusing on that. And as the years went on and the time went on, he was able to let go the brace. And they say that his leg grew. Can I prove that? No, I wasn't there. I haven't measured it. But they say that the leg grew. So what do we do with all this? Does it mean that everybody is supposed to heal from absolutely everything? And that because this is the thing we were talking about on Friday night. Got to be careful with this too, because it's all our ingrained belief system. So I can say things to you, but if I don't believe them, it means very little. So watch for people that feel inauthentic, because you know they're saying something and doing something else. So it doesn't mean that everyone who has any disease, all they got to do is pray and it'll go away, because it depends on what you're holding underneath the prayer. God does not speak, the universe does not speak English, it speaks energy. And so the energy is what is driving. In the Bible, if you want to go to the Bible for some pieces, Jesus said to those who've believed in him, if you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free, or will set you free. Attributed to many people, and I've been in trouble for saying this from the stage before, but it originated somewhere. The other saying about the truth is, the truth will set you free, but first it will make you angry. I won't say the actual quote. It can make you angry. When you find yourself faced with the truth of something, it can make you angry. Gosh, Much easier to belong to some religious walks where you can blame the devil for doing something to you, or you're not worthy enough to talk to God on your own. You need someone else to do it for you. Unity is all up in your face with, guess who's doing it? You. Yeah, right. And it really is a big journey of self-responsibility. So this journey that we're taking, T.S. Eliot said it wonderfully. As we move through these weeks ahead, as we explore our wholeness and the areas of it that we would like to see happen, T.S. Eliot said, at the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. So let's do, shall we? Thank you so much for being here, and so it is. Amen.
Trish, Tina, and the production team thank you for joining us. You can submit a prayer request, donate, and find more information on our website at www.unityofsebring.org.